Hello everyone, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking at Harmonia from Cherry Audio. It's a cool, fresh look at how to create complex waveform very fast, and I call it the interpolated scanning of harmonics. You go, what? Yeah. What it means basically is that you use samples to create very complex harmonics, if you want, very quickly. So you can have these type of sound, like a little bit like vector synthesis or wave sequencing. You won't have the same control, but you can get that type of sound very quickly. So let's actually dive in. You'll see how easy it is to work with. And even if, there's everything is around the oscillator, if you want. It's not an oscillator, but the source, everything's around how the source works. The rest of it is the classic synthesis that we'll all know and love. Let's just you'll see. Let's just go through a tour first, and you'll understand right away what we have to look to see the differences between this and another type of synthesizer. Now remember, this is a unique new synth from scratch. It's not replicating anything that existed before. It get inspired by the, I would say, early digital synthesizer like vector synthesis. Vector was not digital entirely. Wave sequencing. So it has that sound, but it also has an analog sound if you want to. But a control you'll see is just different than anything else I saw before. We have the oscillator 1 and 2. We'll come back to explain how they work. They both are combined into a mixer. You got mixer and pan for each of them. Then you go into a filter. So you have a choice of, many different type of low pass, 1 pole, 2 pole, 3 pole, or 4 pole, high pass, band pass, and notch filter. So, you've got the whole shebang here if you want to. You have a filter envelope, ADSR, an amplitude envelope, and you can click on it and move it really, it's just easy to work. You have 4 included effects. You have distortion, mod, which is basically flanger, phaser, chorus, and rotary speakers. And all of the Cherry Audio effect processing sounds really cool. It's, high grade quality processing. Echoes, again, a couple of options. Verb, you have the Galactic, they're huge reverb, and other spring, room, plate, and hall. So basically, same thing with distortion. You have a bunch of options for distortion. So all of this, and if you want to turn them off, it's really quick. You just click on them and they're off, or you click on them, you turn them on. And for each, you have these control here. So I'm not gonna use that too much. You understand, you can play with that and make it really the sound you want. On the left side, you've got 4 LFOs you can use, so very powerful in the fact that you have 4 of them. This is really cool. And you have a modulation matrix, which is really complex. You've got 8 of them, and you have sources, and destination is here. No, that's it. You've got almost 80 something destination. Everything is, even the effects, you can send to the effects and change the parameters of the effects. So it's really, really, really flexible in the matrix that you have in here. Just to be sure about the numbers, 19 sources and 80 destination, including the internal effects you have here. So really powerful modulation matrix. Everything else is on screen. Let's actually click on New to start an initialize sound from scratch. You have in this oscillator the notion of creating multiple harmonics of this. Now, what you have is a sample. So the first one you have here, let's say we bring that down for now. We'll explain later. And you have a control about the volume here of the first level, or what they call the first harmonic. And the one we hear here is the one we have at the bottom here. So you can click here and choose the harmonics you want. Say, I don't know, guitar, clean guitar. Or you also have, you've got a lot of them, like Destroyer High. What is that? That's cool. Okay. So these are samples, and they're not some of them are rough, some of them have noise at the back. They're more about harmonics and harmonic content and texture than being a clean piano sound, because you'll see you'll use it in a different way. So the logic here is that this is a sample, okay? So you bring the volume up, you hear twice the speed, so an octave higher. You want another octave higher? This one, 2 octave higher. Then you want another one, 8. You have 4 octaves playing at the same time. So this is 100% of the note, 200% the speed, so twice the speed, 4 times the speed, and 8 times the speed. Everything else in between are harmonics. So you want to hear more of them. And they're harmonics because at the top here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this is where they fit in harmonic mode. So basically what you have is 8 times the sample that we chose here that is being played at different speed. This is kind of a wicked trick. It's really like additive synthesis, but instead of using oscillators, you're using samples. That's what it is. It's really wicked kind of approach. I like it. It's wild in a way. If you want to do additive synthesis, you go back here and you say, I want to have a sine wave. That's going to be additive. You're basically adding all the harmonics you want separately with the presence you want. This is where you go here. So if you bring these down, now it becomes the interesting part. You're going to move between them. I'm going to go back to the one we had before. It was Destroyer High. So I could have the original volume here for the root key, but as I play, you still hear the original root key, but I would hear more harmonics. And this is one way I could create like evolution of sound without even touching with the filter, because I could just like play with this to create the presence of all of them. I can bring that down. This one stays here because I've got the original sound. So when you hear this, you go, okay, I can understand how if I move this, you can really move between sounds. And what you have is the width here. The width is around that fader that you're moving. How wide do you want it to be? You see? Let's say I'm going to go like this. Or how narrow you want it. If you go to 0, it's just going to be 1, and it's jumping between them. And now we have an LFO. So let's actually go back to the LFO here and say I want to use this one, and I'm going to assign this one. Mod wheel, say the LFO 1 here via nothing, and just want it to be directly to oscillator 1, and I want it to go to the width. So that's kind of weird, but I mean, you understand you can do a lot of movement with this. The width is just playing the width, how wide the other harmonics will have. Now you also have this other thing here, which is this. I mean, I did this with this. Let's go none. I also can click on source and say right away I want to use it from LFO1, and it's even a faster way to do it. Okay. But I mean, I could also send 2 LFOs to the same. It'd be bizarre, but we could. Now, this is one way. You also have the source here, same logic. LFO 1 in this case. Let's bring that down to none. Let's turn this off. This one now, I can assign it to the fader. Center mod is basically where the center of this modulation will be. Remember, if I want the root key, I could bring that up. You go, okay, well, now if I can change these instead, I have this movement, but now you look at the top here, you can say, well, this is going to be twice as fast as the first one. This is going to be, well, 4. This is going to be 7. This is going to be 3. This is going to be 8. This is going to be 37. You can click here and you have presets. You can say harmonics, I want to have even orders. Or harmonics 1 to 8, the one we just did. Non-tripling. That's kind of weird. Odd order. The drawbar of a tone wheel from an organ. Different scales. And so we have semitone or harmonics you can use, because you see here I'm now in semitone. So you can actually go in and select. And so this can be used almost like an arpeggiator or a sequencer, or just a bunch of samples that you hear one after the other if you want to do it like this. Again, you can just load another sample. Notice that some sound are stereo. You see it here. So then you're gonna have that weird sound if they have something moving left and right when you have them playing at the same time. You're gonna have that chorus happening between all of these sounds playing. So this is weird and fun, and you can have you can decide to send it to the filter or not. So the filter could be assigned to just effect 1. If you say filter bypass, it's going to be not affecting oscillator 1 but only oscillator 2. Now the question everybody will say is can I put my own sample in it? And yes, at the bottom you get load user sample file. So I haven't tested out yet, but you can put your own stuff in it. So all of these are looped, and then you get the one shot. So these are mostly, I would say, percussion or drums. Let's try some of the sounds. That's it. It's just a very powerful, surprisingly easy to use, but completely new approach to harmonics, but sample based. I love this attitude or this way of thinking, of looking at how things were done and say, we can do differently today, but still do something that is completely bizarre. I mean, you have two oscillators, but you actually are playing 16 oscillators because you're playing up to 16 generation of two different samples and controlled in multiple different ways. This is genius. I like it. Again, Cherry Audio, real good job. That's it for me now. If you have any questions, put them below. If you like my channel, thumb up. If you want to be part of my YouTube members to support the channel, you can be a member. There's a section for exclusive content. Write to me if you want more exclusive content. It will be there. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.